Time once again for the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast. With you as always, Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell. I'm Soren Petro as we have our 2026 Red, Gold, and Bold mock draft. We're going to do it pick by pick, and then when we get to the Chiefs pick at 9 and 29, number one, we'll take a look at what the trades are, at least at number 9, and see what's available there. We'll probably end up making the pick there. I don't know. We had some people say, we want to hear pick 9. We're going to talk about what could happen with those trades. At that point, we'll go ahead and continue with the draft. We're switching off every pick, every third pick. The three of us are making every third pick. And then we get to the Chiefs again at 29. We'll discuss that. Where do the Chiefs go at 29? And then we'll wrap up round number 1. You've heard all of our first rounders. We'll talk about when all of our first round caliber players, what we think are the true first rounders, when they actually come off the board. We're doing it right here, right now. Red, Gold, and Bold.
You are listening to the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast, the most in-depth analysis of the Kansas City Chiefs on planet Earth, breaking down the Chiefs like no one else can. Red, Gold, and Bold is hosted by Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, and Soren Petro. Jeff Chadiha is a senior columnist and on-air personality for the NFL Network and NFL.com. Sam McDowell is a columnist for the Kansas City Star. Soren Petro is the afternoon drive host of the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB in Kansas City. The Red, Gold, and Bold podcast is proudly brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, Kansas City's nationally recognized full-service paving and pavement maintenance contractor, making parking lot problems disappear in Kansas City since 1994. Free consultations, no commissions, in-house crews, and every project comes with a written warranty. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com or call 816-484-3338. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. Now, here are the hosts of the Best Chiefs podcast, Jeff Chadiha, Sam McDowell, and Soren Petro.
Thank you very much, Curtis. We do appreciate it. Off and running here with the Red, Gold, and Bold podcast. And gentlemen, always like to real quickly, briefly surmise, what do we take away from getting ready for this mock draft? Number one, the teams you've got. You feel good, Jeff, about what you're going to be picking for all your squads? You got it all nailed down. You're ready to, be the best GM you can possibly be?
Yeah, I didn't have tough decisions with my group. I felt like it was pretty straightforward. The needs were pretty obvious. I didn't stray too far, take too many wild picks. But I will say, as it got deeper into the draft, once you got past the top 15, 16 picks, it got a lot. It wasn't as it was a little more complicated in that realm, because I think you saw the difference between the players who were going high and the ones who were going lower.
Sam, similar reaction as you were prepping for everything?
Yeah, I mean, I would say don't be the GM of 10 teams at one time. I think this is going to be a little bit of a difficult exercise, more so than Jeff gives it credit for, but looking forward to doing this live in front of the people.
Yeah, and we've got we should point out that we're going to have some extra firepower. We're going to be putting up the PFF mock draft, simulator.
Yeah, let everyone follow along.
Yeah, so everybody can follow along and see where everything is.
No spreadsheet needed, Matt. We're going to have the spreadsheet on the screen. You can print it off.
So Matt's still going to be tracking. That's what he does. That's what he loves to do. It's what he's going to do, and he'll be there making sure. We save them all, but, if we ever make a mistake, Matt will be there to catch us and blow us up and let us know that no, they're trying to fudge one. We always like to come back, though, and be very honest about what it was. It'll start with Jeff, it'll go to Sam, and then it'll go to me.
Oh, it starts with me.
No, Sam.
That's right.
Yeah.
We had this. I screwed this up actually in the rundown, and so that's why I'm getting grief here. It has been corrected. It'll start with Sam, go to Jeff, and then to me. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then the Chiefs picks we will we will hash out like an actual NFL draft room. So I guess we're all set. Should we bring up the board?
Let's do it.
We're ready. All right. We add in our draft board. If you haven't seen it, this is the PF shameless plug for the folks over at PFF, their draft simulator. We've got it up here on the screen with the Raiders up with the first pick. And Sam, you're going to actually enter each pick by pick, right?
Yep.
So we'll have it.
Let's
Then it
start
gives
the
us
draft.
we got a board there. There you can see the best available down there on the lower right. Trades that are being offered. We can go and look at what the trades are and everything that's there. And then you've got the running order. Round one is on the left side of your screen. That's how it's going to work. And so with the first pick in the 2026 Red, Gold, and Bold NFL mock draft. By the way, I'm not going to go through that every single time, but for the first one, we'll do it official style with the first pick. Sam, the Las Vegas Raiders are selecting who?
Well, I'm going to trade back, I think, with this first. No, I'm going to take I'm going to take Fernando Mendoza, I think, with the first pick. No explanation needed.
No, I don't think so. I don't think we're going to spend a lot of time there on number one. That's probably the most known thing out there. Jeff, you've got pick number two with the New York Jets. Any decision here? And again, these are our picks, right? We're not trying to predict who they're going to take. These are our picks. So, Jeff, you've got pick number two with the Jets. No quarterback for you, so where are you going?
I'm going defense with the name that's been most associated with the Jets so far throughout this pre-draft process. Arvell Reese is my pick. And look, he says he's an edge rusher. If he works out there, great. If not, he can be an off-ball linebacker, which I think is going to be his better position in the NFL. And so I think if you're the Jets, you have a guy who at least one way or another can help you on defense. It's the most sensible pick they can make here.
Okay, so the Jets at number two will go Arvell Reese. I don't think we've had a whole lot of thought that's had to be put into this so far. We go to pick number three, and I think is it safe to say this is where the draft begins, where it starts to spike off, that we have different directions. The Arizona Cardinals have multiple needs, as does any team that's picking up this high.
I think the rest of I think there's a lot of teams that are wondering what the Cardinals are going to do, and I think that to your point, the whole butterfly effect starts here as well.
Yeah, the Jets could throw us for a curve and do something at pick two that we're not seeing, but if they hold the pick, it looks like they've settled in on Arvell Reese, at least by most of the points. But Cardinals need quarterback. There's no quarterback. They need offensive line. They need edge. They need D-line in general, linebackers. They could use a little bit of everything. At pick number three, and I'm going to hesitate a little bit on this. Like I'm going to go ahead and say that we're going to run the medicals. And there's been some talk about Maui Noah potentially having, he's had a disc issue in his back. So that could turn the apple cart upside down on this, and maybe things change because of that. But as of right now, throughout this entire draft process, he has been, I think, consistently the number one tackle on most teams' boards. I think you know exactly where you're going to play him. You can put him on the right side. The people I've talked to say he can play on the left side. So I think the Cardinals start trying to build the team around whoever their quarterback's going to be of the future. Start trying to get the key positions in place. And so they take offensive line help, and they'll go with Maui Noah, offensive tackle from Miami at pick number three.
I have to scroll down here.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
way.
They got time.
Yeah,
that's right.
A long way down.
Way down there.
Way down there.
Yeah. A lot of big name playmakers is going fast there. That could
scrolling. Okay,
Yeah.
We'll see if that's the longest scroll we do all night.
Right.
I am so I'm on the board. I'm on the clock here with the Titans. And look, I mean, regardless of the way the first three picks went, I know that Jeremiah Love is the guy who's projected to go to Tennessee, but this is a defense that was 29th in the league in DVOA last year. And I know there's a defensive player off the board, but I feel like the best defensive player in the draft is still on the board. So I'm going to take him. David Bailey goes fourth. And if I can pair him with Jeffrey Simmons, I'm starting to feel like maybe I've got something on the defensive line, and that's a pretty good place to start.
Okay. I like it. So we're getting the edge rushers coming off the board the way we thought they would. And Titans have a defensive head coach now, so you can see him wanting to pressure the quarterback. They always invested very heavily when he was in San Francisco on that defensive line, so that would seem like a direction he would want to go. A lot of people have Jeremiah Love going here. You don't. And so that has Jeremiah Love remaining on the board. Jeff, the Giants rectify that situation with pick number 5. Where do you go with pick number 5?
Well, one more team that needs more defense. And I know they've got 2 picks here, and it's sexy to take the offensive player first if they go that route. But I feel like Sonny Styles is a better player than Arvell Reese. He's going to play the more natural position for them. Their front seven needs help. They are probably going to go heavy in trying to build up that run defense, which has been awful. They gave up 5.3 yards per carry last year. So I think you get a big linebacker who can cover the field for you. Tackling machine. Sonny Styles is my guy here.
Yeah, I don't think you can argue. I do think Sonny Styles could be on the slide. I think he could go super high. I think he could slide a little bit just because we've talked about the off-ball linebacker. Jeff, you were the guy that talked about the off-ball linebacker. I think you said name an off-ball linebacker in the NFL, and now you're going 5 with the Giants at Sonny Styles.
Yeah, the run defense stinks. I can't take a defensive tackle that high that I like, so he's my only option as far as helping the run defense.
Again, these are our picks, all right? So that puts the Cleveland Browns on the clock. That's my selection: quarterback, offensive line, wideout, corner, edge, all needs for the Cleveland Browns. You're going to start to notice a theme with the way I pick. If I were building a football team, number one, we're all in search of a great quarterback, but I'm going to do everything I can to try to make the quarterback's life better. So I'm going to go offensive line again here as well. I think wide receivers an opportunity, but at pick 6, I don't think the Cleveland Browns can come away with, an injury question. We've talked about this. I think Jordan Tyson's the best wideout. Caleb Downs is the safer player, but still I think there are limits not Caleb Downs. I'm drawing a blank on Tate. Carnell Tate, Ohio State, is the safer pick at wide receiver. I do think Caleb Downs is a very safe pick, though, at safety. I think he's going to be a really good safety. But Carnell Tate is the safer player, but I think Tyson's the better player. But I don't think the Browns can come away with nothing. So I'm going to take the guy with great feet and the guy that if he doesn't play a tackle, they think he can play anywhere. Obviously, we want it to work out for him at tackle, but I'm going to take Spencer Fanout, offensive tackle from Utah, goes 6 to the Cleveland Browns.
Give me a second to scroll here. Scrolling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
let me just say I disagree with the PFF big board, by the way.
That's been clear 2 picks in. If I'm the Commanders, I am pretty ecstatic that was the 6th pick, because that is not the position I feel like is most of need for me. And really, I think, Styles, I think, could fall there, to your point, Soren, but he doesn't. And I feel pretty good about this. And Chiefs fans probably will not, but I'm taking Carnell Tate at 7. I just need more weapons offensively. I mean, Terry McLaurin's a great wide receiver, but Treylon Burks is their number 2. Ertz is old. I just don't feel like they've given their quarterback enough help. And so I think Carnell Tate is a pretty likely landing spot. Not just my pick, but I think he's the likely landing spot here too.
Okay, so you think this isn't just how our board fell, this is how you think it's going to go in the league.
Yeah, and someone in the comments I think is right. Like, this could be a Jeremiah Love fallout too. But I need the guy that, if I've got the quarterback solved, I want a wide receiver who I can sign to a second contract and maybe marry him with the quarterback for the next 6 years, not just draft a running back that's going to be maybe a 4 or 5 year guy.
By the way, I do want to take a moment to point out that you are looking at Red, Gold, and Bold history here. As for the first time, we're sharing a screen here, just showing our technological muscle as we can. And I noticed something else. I think that if we get the scrolling comment again with my pick, I think what we need to do is we just go to a comment. Just go to a comment, make Sam try to get his head up over the comment. I'll just go ahead and do that anytime
Are you? Oh no, Jeff's up. I was like, you're already anticipating that your guy's not on the board.
I'm not up till 10. So we got a little bit, because we'll all do the Chiefs at 9. All right. So what do we got for the Saints there at number 8, Jeff?
I'm tempted to take a playmaker to help my young quarterback Tyler Shook out, because Chris Olave's there and not much else. And I know Jeremiah Love is staring me in the face, and he'd be great if I didn't go out and sign a running back in free agency and pay him a whole bunch of money. And Travis Achan I think I said it correctly. And so, look, Cam Jordan's been a foundational piece as an edge rusher. He's leaving town. Ruben Bain's my guy. You know, short arms and all, dead body on him. I'll take him. He's going to be my guy.
God. It even took me a second I don't know why, but it took me a second. I think it was just so stunning.
All right. So let's just move on to the Chiefs.
I knew about this a long time ago, by the way. I had to do this.
Oh, that's classic. That's classic.
It's been handled.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now here we sit at number 8. By the way, did anybody have any?
9.
All right, number 9. Yeah, eight's now off the board. Did anybody have an inkling that there was a spot there where the Chiefs would be looking to jump up, where they'd be looking to trade up, where they should be looking to trade up as our board was falling? Because I did not.
No, I think if Washington were to take Love there, the Saints are I think are more likely to take Tate. Jeff, would you have taken Tate if he was available at 8?
Yeah.
And therefore, I think that might be a spot where they want to move up 1.
Okay. All right. Let's get this. Let's see what the trades are. Oh, at least there's only 10 for us to go.
10 trades. Holy crap.
I remember Sam going, "Hey, every time when I get to pick 9, there's not many trades. So
phone is ringing off the hook.
We don't have to weed through too many, and it comes up with 10.
The only one that isn't within the next 8 is the Dolphins. And so, okay. I mean, the Dolphins, let's see. You trade them 9. That's what I'm pressing here. I'm giving them number 9. You get 11 back, of course.
Right.
Could you get 43 back? No.
Really?
Could you get 75 back? Yes.
See, I'm surprised it was nothing. We did this exercise.
You could get 43 and probably give back 74.
Well, I think if you just wanted to play the game, I will tell you that we did this exercise live on the radio show, and this same trade came up, and we did 11 and 75 for 9 and moved back.
Well, you could do that, but here's like I would prefer this, for example. I'm getting 11, 43, and 130 for 9 and 74. So now, you've got 11, 29, 40, and 43 in a spot where, let's keep in mind, Brett Veach has talked about that there's a couple positions. One, he thinks the offensive tackles gets to about 40. And the other one is he thinks edge rushers get to about through the second round. And now I've got an extra pick within that range. And I've also got a pick to where I feel like maybe I could use it to move back up to a certain spot if I have one first round grade remaining at like 21 or something. Now I've got the ammo to maybe move back to 21.
Play with it real quick and see if you try to get 11 and 30, what you'd have to come back with.
Sure. Yeah. So I've given up 9 and 74.
Would
9
and
70
do it?
Yeah, and you could probably also add, and you could also get 75, 11, 30, and 75 for 9 and 40. I wouldn't be as crazy about giving up 40 there.
But you get 30, so you move up 10 spots, and then you pick up 75. So here you're moving up 10 and getting 75. So it's a similar trade, 40 goes to 30.
And this is actually where I like to play with it. If you notice, it's almost a 50-50 trade to get moved back. And then next year, I trade a second for a 1. And it's the Dolphins, who aren't a good team. Like, that's why I said when we had this exercise a week ago that when you asked how far would you move back, I said all the way to 2027, because I just think teams devalue future picks. And that's an opportunity to maybe score a real win in a draft day trade.
All right, so we agreed that we would go ahead and
we're going to make the pick.
In the spirit of things, we wanted to go through the trade process so you could see what some of the trade offers.
I've never seen 10, by the way.
I've
never seen 10 offers, by the way. Here
well, let me see. Just give me one other one. What other one do we got?
The other ones are at like 17 with the Lions. I'm sure you could get 17 and 50, of course. You could add 118. Now, this is where I think the model gets a little bit ridiculous, is all of a sudden you can just start collecting more and more picks. And but this might be another one where you look at it and say, okay, can I get 17 on next year's first for a 9? Now, the Lions are probably a little bit too good of a team for you to make that risk. And I think when we look at the other options here, it's getting to be too far back for you to be comfortable making a trade.
I would actually
back
do
to
like
19.
I would take the Lions first next year, and I'd move back to 17. I
Would
think
you really?
I think we're on a plateau
Because
of the kind of players that are going to be available. Who we can take here at 9, I think we're going to get a comparable player, maybe not the same position, but I think we're going to get a comparable player. 17 is about how far back I would be.
and this is by the way why we went through those scenarios that what was it, last Tuesday or maybe it was the Friday before, where it was just oddball scenarios. And one of the scenarios we went through was Jeremiah Love falls to you. And the conclusion from my end was this is an opportunity to trade the pick, because I do think some teams would want to come up and make this pick right here.
Yeah, I agree. So, all right, we're gonna say that no trade ended up being one that the Chiefs were willing to do. So we're gonna make the pick at 9. So let's weigh in. What are you thinking?
From having to make a pick, this is a bad situation, I think, for the Chiefs, because I don't know how you guys feel. Let's do it this way. The three of us are 3 members of the Chiefs draft room, and none of us have maybe we go with majority rather than somebody being the actual GM. But I would voice the opinion that I don't want to take a running back at 9, especially when I've given one that kind of money. And
I'm
so
not taking Love.
Jeremiah Love, I think, is the best talent left on the board, but he's not who I'm taking here.
I think Caleb Downs is one of the best talents too, but I'm also not taking safety here. So I think both of those.
I'd be more inclined to see safety. Let's see some other names here. Like Ryan mentioned, we got Jeremiah Love, Caleb Downs, we've got Delane. You can of course get a tight end. You've got, I can't imagine taking the second best safety. That doesn't make much sense to me.
I'll mention Monroe Freeling. I'm on board with taking a tackle, and I think Freeling is a talent. So Freeling's one of the guys I'll nominate for making this pick with.
Yeah, and I've said corner before, but after Bedford's talked, I felt like that's not going to happen in the first round.
I don't think it's going to happen, but again, it's what we would do. I'll go Freeling, Tyson.
I was going to say let's get to the most interesting name on this list, because he's a name that's really popped up a lot recently, which is Jordan Tyson.
Yeah.
Now, the tough part for us is we don't have the medicals on Jordan Tyson. The Chiefs do. The Chiefs brought him in for a visit, which means they absolutely put him through their medical test. I mean, there's no doubt that they would have given him, an MRI at that point to see how his body's holding up. So they know exactly, are his medicals clean now? Now, they don't know whether or not he's going to get hurt next year, but that's the information you use to determine and to help predict whether or not he's going to get. So let's just make an executive decision on whether or not we say Jordan Tyson's healthy or not.
I'd say we like the workout. He's healthy. I mean, we saw him jumping around and he looked bouncy and springy. Yeah. So we'll call him healthy right now, but it doesn't erase the injury history, but he's healthy right now. And
I think he's got to be in the mix. He's got to be in the conversation.
So you said offensive tackle.
I would say Freeling 1, Tyson 2. 1, because the Tyson injury part scares me, but I don't mind taking Tyson. But Freeling 1, Tyson 2, and McCoy is my top corner, so I would nominate McCoy in here as well. I feel like I get the number 1, Jamal McCoy from Tennessee. I get the number 1 corner. Like for me, Freeling is the safest pick, but Tyson and McCoy are easy. If we're going to talk about what we got to do, are easy sells for me to walk out and do a press conference on, because I'll with a straight face, and I'll believe it, say we got the best talent at wideout or we got the best talent at corner. So I'm happy. Those are my 3 in my order, but I'm literally happy to take any of those 3.
I would say, look, Freeling wasn't one of my first round grades, so let's cross him off the list. Okay. So just to narrow this down, I'm on board with Tyson if he's healthy, because the only reason I mentioned this when we did our first round grades, he wasn't on my list because I can't be sure of his.
Oh, so we're going to put him on. We're crossing off Freeling.
Where the teams are. Well, Freeling was never on my first round grades.
You're fat shaming.
Downs, I think, needs to be in this conversation, maybe more than we're giving it credit for, because he's just, I think, has probably the highest floor of any player in this draft. I know he's a safety. I'm not crazy about taking a safety 9. You also have just a really young group in the secondary right now, to where I think maybe he's got some surplus value there with just his understanding of the game that's going to help out a young room at cornerback. We anticipate drafting a cornerback later. So I would say those two are probably up there for me, but with corner in the mix. Jeff?
I've gone corner with Delane. I like McCoy, but I'm a big Tyson guy, even with the injuries. I think if you're going to go at this spot now, Tate's already gone. Lemon is a smaller receiver, though I like him a lot. I think that Tyson fits what the Chiefs need, a bigger receiver who can play X, run after the catch, 50-50 ball, like everything you want a receiver to be, aside from a clean injury history, he is. And so I'm big on Tyson, but I think Delane's not my number 2.
Well, okay. Tyson's the only name we all three mentioned, so maybe we roll with him.
Okay. I'm down with that. I'm fine with taking the wide receiver. I'm down with. I mean, I think, like I said, I don't think you can go wrong taking the best talent. I don't think you can go wrong giving Patrick Mahomes a weapon that he wants to use. So the Chiefs take Jordan Tyson at number 9. Now we've got a stretch of picks to make from outside the Chiefs organization until we get to 29. We'll do it after you hear from our friends at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Concrete season is in full swing and asphalt paving is revving up. So right now is the time to get your property on the schedule with Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Whether you need new concrete work, a parking lot repaved, crack filling, seal coating, or full asphalt installation, their experienced crews handle it all right here in Kansas City. Don't wait until the rush hits. Call today for a free bid and secure your spot before the calendar fills up. Get the process started right now at GannAsphalt.com. That's GannAsphalt.com. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lots. Northland Injury Law, Kansas City's Google 5-star rated personal injury lawyers, serving KC for more than 40 years, voted Kansas City's #1 accident lawyers, helping people with serious injuries from car accidents, work accidents, falls, and other personal injuries. Northland Injury Law doesn't get paid unless they get money for their client. Don't wait. Get compensated now. If you have a case, text HURT to 22222. That's HURT to 22222. Or call 816-400-HURT. That's 816-400-4878. The choice of a lawyer is an important one and should not be based solely upon advertisements. All right, let's keep things rolling here as we make our way now to pick number 10, the New York Giants.
Is this back to you, Soren?
Yeah, that's back to me. Okay. The New York Giants are on the clock now, and so that brings me to my pick. Giants needs in this draft. Giants have many. What are they taking? 5? Who do we have them taking at 5? Styles. Styles on the defensive side.
Such a bad pick that we replaced their GM with Soren.
Yeah. I forgot about that. We did strategize that we were going to have same person do both picks, and then we got going in this, and we forgot to do that. So anyway, I'm still going to take that was what we did when we did the exercise beforehand. Never mind.
Yeah.
But at 10 for the Giants, like, this is where, look, I think your point about Jeremiah Love, like, play the scenario out if he slides. I think there is a scenario where he slides. Just because people keep going, I'm not going to take running backs. I also think there's a scenario where somebody comes up early and takes him, but the Giants need weapons. They know how important. So they lost Saquon Barkley. They're going to look to replace Saquon Barkley. I'll have them taking Jeremiah Love, running back Notre Dame here, and I think it's a good pick. I think he'll be gone before now. I'm not sure where, or do you guys think he's now sliding to this point?
I think he's gone before then. I think teams feel. I think. Look, I mean, I picked David Bailey for the Titans at 3. I don't think he gets past. Or at 4, I don't think he gets past 4.
Yeah, I don't. If it's not 4, then certainly not past the Commanders.
And look, for the Chiefs, we're trading back if Jeremiah Love's on the board. Like, if that's our pick, the three of us that we just did that exercise, our decision was to make the pick to make not cop out, but we're actually trading back in that scenario.
I agree. All right, that takes us now to pick number 11. The Dolphins are up. Sam, you've got this pick.
Yeah, we're rushing to the podium with this one. I mean, Caleb Downs at 11, when I'm a defensive-minded first-year head coach, Jeff Hafley, I need to establish a culture here. I just think Caleb Downs is a perfect guy to do that. So if I'm the Dolphins, I'm thrilled that I'm getting Caleb Downs at 11.
Okay, 12, Cowboys on the clock. Jeff, you've got this pick.
I'm running up with this one too. Mansour Delane, I think, is great value there. The Cowboys put a lot of resources into making some moves to improve their defense last year. With Quentin Williams coming over, they picked up Rashawn Gary in the offseason. You couldn't name a corner outside of Deron Bland, and they signed Kobe Durant. But I think this guy is a real talent. I think he's helped solidify a weak secondary. This is an easy pick for me.
Okay. That comes back around to me where you'll notice my theme continues. I've got the Rams picking at 13. One of their biggest needs is offensive line, linebacker, edge, wide receiver they could use because Devontae Adams not getting any younger. But to me, they got to protect the old guy quarterback. So they're going to go offensive line. This is where Monroe Freeling, offensive tackle from Georgia, goes. I think this is a pretty good spot for where he'll probably go in this draft. I think that there are going to be a minimum of 5, probably more like at least 6 offensive tackles that go in the draft. And they always start making their way up the board. And in fact, I would almost bet that Freeling won't go lower than this, to be honest.
You've drafted 5 already, haven't you?
4 picks.
With 3 picks. You tried to push Freeling on the Chiefs.
I've got 3 offensive linemen and a running back.
Yeah.
This is a tough pick, I think, for the Ravens here. I don't know if this board fell exactly the way that I wanted, because when I looked at the Ravens this year and analyzed them for this pick, I wanted to go defense, and there's just not a great defense. I mean, someone mentioned it, like McCoy's questions now that came out today, and you look at these other guy. I mean, Mesidor I like, but he's 25. So I'm gonna go with just their top offensive need. I'm gonna go with Mekhi Lemon here at 14, and just he's not the fastest guy in the world, even though he's small. You like your small guys to at least be fast.
He's not fast, but he makes up for it by being small.
But Zay Flowers is the speed guy, so I think he maybe could be a good balance there. And so I'm gonna go with Lemon at 14.
Okay, Mekhi Lemon goes 14. By the way, I'll note here, Sam now only has Jerron McCoy left as his true first rounder. Jeff has McCoy and Kenyon Sadiq. I've got a few more. As we know, I had the phone book listed as first rounders because I had 21 or 22 true first rounders. So there's more players there for me to go after. But anybody thinking trade up here after the Ravens go Mekhi Lemon, does the Bucks become a target to trade up from 29 or still too far?
Oh, that's
not
too
me.
far.
No, I like where I'm sitting.
If you're the Chiefs at 20, no, I'm saying at 20.
Oh, the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs. As we look at it, based on our true first rounders, you're running out of the true first rounders. I mean, this was the spot they found themselves in 22 when they made the move up to get Trent McDuffie. Was they said, okay, I'm going to go up and get, we're going to go up and get our guy here, and they use some of the extra draft picks to go make a move. Is anybody? Just because we're getting down to where there's only a couple of guys on your guys' board.
Who's left up here? Yeah, I'm not doing it based on who's left. I mean, I got with Sadiq and McCoy.
Yeah,
I'm not coming up for a tight end. And I think corner's going to be a day 2 pick, maybe even day 3.
So it does So it really, for you guys, it doesn't feel like there's going to be a trade up, probably.
No.
Right? Like scenario, you're going to be sitting tight at 29 and you're taking what you got, or looking to move back at 29.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm not coming up either. But anyway, all right. So now we're to pick number, 15
for
Jeff.
Yeah, 15. Look, the Bucks, they got to figure out a way to get better in the NFC South. They've gotten old in a hurry. And really, their pass rush has not been what it's been in a long time. And so I'm thinking Keldrick Falk here from Auburn makes a lot of sense. I need to get an edge rusher. He's a bigger guy than I'd like for a 3-4 defense, but I was looking at Jason Pierre-Paul, who was a stud for them, and he's about the same size, about 6'5", 270. And so certainly he can handle the run at that size, but he's going to give you some pass rush as well. A lot of pass rush, what you want here. So Keldrick Falk.
All right, Keldrick Falk goes 15 to the Bucks. That puts me on the clock with the Jets' second pick, and the Jets need some weapons. I think wide receiver is a spot that they could use, and I like this guy a lot. This guy was one of my true first-round picks, Omar Cooper Jr., Wide receiver, Indiana. I think they need some playmakers. This gives them a pretty good spot if they can ever find their quarterback. They've got Brees Hall. They've got now a couple of wide receivers. They start to look like they're, can give some weapons to a young quarterback, and you can at least know what you got with that quarterback. So I go Omar Cooper Jr. to the New York Jets at 16. Lions now on the clock for you, Sam, at 17.
Yeah, as I looked through this, I kind of had hoped that Freeling would fall to me because, and I agree with you that that's probably not going to be the case. But they're moving Sewell to left tackle this year. Decker's gone after a decade there. So I'm kind of looking for the best tackle on the board to do what I want to do offensively, and I'm gonna do the Soren scroll here and get all the way down to Caden Proctor. And the tape is inconsistent. He had a really bad opener last year. And then he bounced back and had a pretty good season. So, like I said, I had hoped that maybe I could get Freeling here, but going to go with Caden Proctor as a plan B.
Okay. Caden Proctor, 17 to the Lions. Jeff, that gives you the Vikings at 18. Where are you looking?
Another easy one. Harrison Smith has been the leader of the secondary at safety for the Vikings for well over a decade. He's finally out of that spot, moved on. And so for me, I'm looking at Dylan Thieneman. Is it Thieneman or Thieneman?
Thieneman?
You better learn it. He's your guy.
I guess, well, yeah. I'm paying him. Whatever I call him, I should be happy. Yeah, first round pick. But, this is a guy who's really coming on. I think a lot of people, there's a lot of buzz around him. I don't know how many people would have a first round grade on him, but it seems like he's getting into that territory, the second best safety in the draft after Caleb Downs. And I think he makes a lot of sense for the Vikings.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people that have pushed him up into the first round. So I think this is a spot. In fact, I was talking with somebody from Minnesota the other day, and this is one of the names they mentioned that they thought the Vikings, it was the consensus in Minneapolis on where the Vikings might go. All right, that takes me to 19 and the Carolina Panthers.
Eagles watching.
And so this is a spot where I think the Panthers could use weapons for their young quarterback. A number of different options here. I could still – I'm always up for taking an offensive lineman, and I think they very well could go offensive line. But I do think someone is going to pop on the physical traits. And why not the Panthers to get a real playmaker? So Kenyon Sadiq, tight end from Oregon, is the pick for the Carolina Panthers so that they can get a playmaker to give Bryce Young some more weapons to deal with, and they'll try to make him a more productive player, make the production equal out to his physical abilities. And they get the best looking guy in a uniform because nobody wears a uniform better than Kenyon Sadiq in this NFL draft. 20, Sam, you get the Cowboys.
Yeah. Interesting spot because my only first round grade left is McCoy, and he's been my only first round grade left on the board for 5 picks now. So I know that Jeff has addressed this position, but I just think he's the best talent left. And there's the injury question, but so I guess suffice to say, my analysis is based on the fact that the medicals are clean, but I grade him the only first round pick left, and I think pretty clearly by quite a bit. So I'm taking McCoy here at 20.
I don't think that's the worst thing in the world because, number one, you mentioned Jeff's already taken a corner earlier, so now you double up on the position.
The Eagles did it, and they won a Super Bowl because they did that. So
yes, I agree. I don't think I don't think the Cowboys will do it, but I don't think it's a bad strategy. I think strategy is probably better than whatever they'll come up with. Not that they're a bad drafting team because they're actually an underrated team. But if they're chirping about moving up, I don't think they're moving up for a corner. So they'll probably take somebody else and then be looking for a corner at the spot. But I don't think it's a bad move. And the report that I read said that it's not the ACL. The ACL's fine. There's like something kind of procedural and something that can happen. You don't like it. You don't like him opening up a knee right on around the draft. This isn't good news. But I do think you're taking the number one. Yeah. What Jeff and I both had is the number one
talented guy.
Yeah, talent. Or was it me and Sam that had him number one?
Sam had him. I had DeLoyne number. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you're getting for you and for me, you're getting the number one corner, so I don't think it's a bad pick at all. 21, the Steelers are up for you, Jeff.
You know what? Aaron Rodgers is dicking around again and, not making a commitment.
You got Ty Simpson?
Yeah. I thought about it. Trust me, I thought about it. But if I get Ty Simpson, Aaron Rodgers is not coming back to Pittsburgh. And I've already spent a lot of time hoping he'd do that. I went out and I spent some money on Michael Pittman Jr. So I got my deep threat and DK Metcalf. I've got my dirty work guy in Pittman. I want a shifty third option in there who could actually make Aaron Rodgers' life even easier. And Mike McCarthy's offense likes three wideouts. I'm going Casey Concepcion here.
Okay.
Shifty playmaker, quick, ball in his hands. I got everything I want for my quarterback now, so he better not come in complaining.
Okay. So you're giving him a weapon to get him out of the dark room. And
by the way, I love
right.
PFF, but I cannot believe when you look at these needs that wide receiver is not top of the list.
They definitely need a wideout. I agree wholeheartedly with that. All right, 22. The theme continues here, Sam. The Chargers, after drafting a couple of tackles, still need offensive line help. They've lost, they let guys go. And I think, I'm making this pick for my coach, Jim Harbaugh. He has his guys. You're getting the best interior offensive lineman, guard who's also played center. The only problem with making this pick at 22 is that I have to figure out how to pronounce his name again. But the Chargers will take Olave
Vega, I think he goes by, right?
Vega Ione, guard, Penn State. But I like the fact that he's also played center, so they get the best interior offensive lineman in this draft to keep trying to keep Justin Herbert upright, so that maybe at some point he'll win a close game late.
I think we made that pick pretty easy for you because I don't think he's there. So that one kind of fell into your lap.
I would agree. Sam, you've got the Eagles at 23 with reports that they're going to be moving A.J. Brown on down the road. Where are you going here?
Yeah, I mean, that definitely affects the thinking here because, as we prepped for this, I'm thinking Mesidor gets there to 23. That seems like a pretty good name. I'm thinking maybe address tackle a year early. But I am just swayed by the fact that I'm going to need a receiver and a sizable one. So I'm going to go with Denzel Boston, 6'4" guy, 20 touchdowns in the last couple of years, red zone threat, and try and replace A.J. Brown on a much cheaper contract.
Okay. All right. So that comes off the board at 23. 24, Jeff, you get a shot at making the Cleveland Browns happy. Where are you going here?
Well, I'm not happy that Denzel Boston's gone because I wanted to get a receiver. My quarterback situation is still very murky, and all I have is Jerry Jeudy, who is the most reliable guy in my offense and nobody else of note. But since he's gone, and I don't like to drop off at receiver, I think I'm drafting 39th overall. And so I think I can get a guy in the second round who's probably comparable to what I can get here as far as talent. But as far as best value, I'm going with a guy who's already nearby, and he's also getting a lot of buzz lately, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren at safety to come in. Grant Delpit's in his last year. I'm trying to make sure I got a defense in place that could actually deal with all these quarterbacks in the AFC if I want to be a player at some point. And so the guy's long, and he's rangy, he's athletic, and he's a Toledo guy. So I know a lot of people have probably seen him play already.
Did you play corner or safety?
I was safety.
So you've taken 3 of them, haven't you?
Have
I took downs with the Dolphins.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Can I wanted to point out something else Jeff said. He wanted wide receiver, and when you look at Boston gone, here's the next best wide receivers available. Yeah. And when you look at that, I think it makes even more sense for the Chiefs to be targeting wide receiver at 9. Either that or you're gonna be waiting until 40 because I don't know that Boston gets there. I mean, look, we took Concepcion and Boston. They might and Cooper.
Yep.
Those 3 aren't guaranteed to be picked, but what if? And now what? Are you really going to go through those first 3 picks without addressing a weapon.
Who's the wide receiver up there from a Chiefs standpoint that you're like, this is my next guy?
You mean of the wide receivers that are left on our board?
Yeah, that are left up here.
Well, I took Bernard in my mock draft, but I took him 4th round. So
yeah. I mean, look, I mean, I've seen people like the fit with Fields, but I mean, there's a drop off after those. I think what do we have? 6 wide receivers now? Is that right?
6. After those 6,
yeah, we've got.
Did we hear Brett Veach say there'll be a run of wide receivers in the 3rd and 4th?
Cooper. Do we have 5 or 6?
6, because Cooper is the
Tate Tyson.
He's the
so we've got
Cooper.
Tate, then Tyson, Lemon. Yep, Lemon, Cooper. Yep, and these last 2 guys, Concepcion and Boston. And man, there's a fall off between 6 and 7.
And that's what I'm saying. Brett Veach said there's wide receiver depth at the top, and then they'll probably be in the 3rd and 4th. Well, he's pretty much saying, I mean, maybe 1 or 2 of these guys will be in there, but he's pretty much saying all these guys, they're definitely a tier down.
Yeah,
on what we're looking at. I don't know why I pointed my camera. I'm pointing at the screen I'm looking at here, but I digress. All right, we'll take the break here as we get to the last couple of picks before the Kansas City Chiefs. When we come back, we are now down to the Bears at 25. So just a handful of picks before we get to the Chiefs. We'll do that after you hear from our friends at Northland Injury Law. Northland Injury Law, Kansas City's Google 5-star rated personal injury lawyers, serving KC for more than 40 years, voted Kansas City's #1 accident lawyers, helping people with serious injuries from car accidents, work accidents, falls, and other personal injuries. Northland Injury Law doesn't get paid unless they get money for their client. Don't wait, get compensated now. If you have a case, text HURT to 22222. That's HURT to 22222, or call 816-400-HURT. That's 816-400-4878. The choice of a lawyer is an important one and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Gann Asphalt and Concrete is looking to grow their team. If you have heavy construction foreman experience with heavy equipment, asphalt or concrete labor, or just want to learn a new trade, contact Gann Asphalt and Concrete to join their team today. Top of the market pay, company provided insurance, and paid time off and holiday pay are just a few of the great reasons to join Gann's expanding team. Learn more about this great opportunity with Gann at GannAsphalt.com/careers. That's GannAsphalt.com/careers. Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lots. All right, we're at pick 25. The Chicago Bears hold that pick. It's my choice to make here. Bears needs safety. Not going there because the top 3 safeties are off the board. Offensive line, I would like to go there. I actually think defensive line, a bigger need for the Chicago Bears. They got to do something to stop some guys. And because I'm making the pick, and I wasn't in the interviews, and I think the interview process, Sam, you said this as well, that the interview process is going to be really big for Zion Young. I don't know how well they went. There are some off-the-field red flags, but I think he is definitively a first-round talent. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know that he's still here on the board at 25 when the draft actually comes out.
Wow.
6'6", 270-plus pounds. I mean, he is a true defensive lineman. He's not an edge. He's a defensive end. But I think he can play in any scheme that you've got. And he had a great Senior Bowl. So I'm going to take Zion Young, edge Missouri, 25 to the Bears. To help out their defense. Sam, you got the Bills at 26. Where are you going?
Yeah, we're starting to get into this territory that used to be how we did mock drafts. Just look at like the last 5 picks and say, wow, there's nobody left. But look, I mean, when I analyze the Bills, they only have one player returning who had more than 17 pressures last year. And they're kind of hoping that Bradley Chubb solves everything. So I know that they did sign Bradley Chubb, but I'm just really invested in the pass rush, and I'm going to get a guy who on 3rd downs can rush from the inside because he has rushed from the inside. I know he's old, but the Bills' window is now. So I think that is less of a factor for them than it is other teams. So I'm taking Mesidor.
Okay. Akeem Mesidor, second Miami edge rusher, off the board at 26. Jeff, you've got 27 in the Niners. Where do you go?
I want some O-line help here. I feel like this team is getting older and older, and certainly Trent Williams at left tackle is like 45 years old now. He's been there forever. Colton McKevitz at right tackle. I want a guy who can step in there, help me out, solidify, maybe be a day one starter for me. So Caleb Lomu out of Utah. Utah's had a pretty good offensive line here with 2 first-round picks to tackle with Fano already gone, but I think Lomu fits what they need.
Okay. And I'll keep with my theme. As I have the next pick at 28, the Houston Texans are going to go offensive tackle as well. I think Blake Miller will be off the board before this. I really won't be shocked if this guy ends up going a lot higher. I'm not sure what people don't like about him. He started like 50-plus games for Clemson, ideal size, length. I'm sure there's some nuance in the game that I'm missing, but I think Blake Miller goes in the first round, and I know the Texans need offensive line. So I'm going to go Blake Miller, offensive tackle, Clemson, with the final pick before the Kansas City Chiefs are now on the clock at 29. So what do we got? What do we got? We got one trade that's up there. What's our trade offer?
The 31, and let's see what we can get. You can get 95 basically. So moving back 2 spots, you can get a late third. It depends. I mean, I guess it depends on what we think of the guys available, but I'd probably take. Yeah, I'd probably be inclined to take that, to be honest. And
I would take it because the only first round pick that's left on any of our boards is I had Caleb Banks on the board based upon him having clean medicals. If I thought or medicals that were good enough, if it was looking good. But we're talking about a guy who had a foot injury last year and then re-injured it at the combine. So this is a recent injury, and plus it's a 6'6", 320-pound defensive lineman. I mean, like foot injuries are scary, you know. But that's my best talent, in my opinion, by far on the board. So I would absolutely be willing to take this trade down, and I think I still am going to get the guy that I'm going to say is tops on my list, which is Caleb Banks. I'm going to say that Caleb Banks is still there at 31, and now I pick up another late third to get some more help. I'd be all about making that trade.
Yeah, I'd be more fearful of Caleb Banks, even if you had current clean medicals, which he doesn't, just because it's the same, very similar injury that he's had twice. So I think that separates it from the Tyson situation that we had earlier. So in the room, I mean, if people are pounding their fists on Caleb Banks, I think I'd be saying I want Avion Terrell here, and that would be my choice for a cornerback from Clemson.
Where are you going, Jeff?
The tackle from Arizona State's interesting. Ian Nachor, just because certainly he's the last really interesting looking tackle. But man, I felt like defensive tackle was the way to go here in the mock draft, and Cade McDonald's sitting there. Banks is a guy who looks good. Christian Miller. I just feel like Chris Jones is such a huge part of this defense, and he's fading. He's declining. I want a guy who can go in there and play next to him and have impact. So I like either McDonald, Banks, or Miller.
Banks is my top guy.
I'm not a huge Caden McDonald fan. I don't want a run stopper and a first round pick. So I understand the need for that position. I just don't think that position's there in the first round.
Although I will say that the run stopper idea is, I mean, with teams running the ball now more than they have since the 90s, that the idea of taking, I agree with you, up this high I'd like more because I think you can get those guys later. But I do think, like, one of the things we've got a topic that we haven't gotten to that's kind of been sitting there, from Thursday or Friday, and it just keeps getting pushed down because of what's going on. But like likely surprises, we called it, and I think one of the a surprise that is not going to shock you, and I think D tackles moving up the board is not going to shock me, right? Like, I don't think they're going in the top 10, but if you all of a sudden saw like 22, 24, 26, 28 D tackle, that wouldn't shock me. And I think part of that is because teams are like, okay, we've been drafting all pass rush guys. We got to get a thick guy to stuff the run. And so I do think that they will move up. But I agree with you in your assessment. Banks is my guy that I would say let's roll the dice here. I mean, what the hell? We've gone upside early. Why not go upside again?
Upside and injury.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, risk.
Two broken down guys.
All right. Well, I mean, look, I'll be outvoted on this. There's three of us. You guys want Banks, so go with it. Like I said, his injury situation scares me a little bit more because it's a repeat thing.
And I think that's fair. I think that's totally fair. But you just got outvoted. So
you're trying to win here, Sam.
Yeah, we're gonna we wanted premium positions and big time talent, so we're gonna take another one here for the Chiefs. All right, let's close out the first round.
But if we're not taking them, the Dolphins are taking them, and I picked for the Dolphins twice in this mock draft, and their secondary is in need of major help. And man, am I pumped if I'm Jeff Hafley, and these are the two guys I wind up with.
Yeah, who'd you get? Terrell, and who was your first one?
Caleb Downs.
Yeah.
That's AJ Terrell's brother, right?
Yeah.
Yep. All right, Jeff, you've got 31 for the Patriots.
I can't let a mock draft go by with the kid sitting number 2 on the board there, a local kid from Rockhurst High School, know his dad. Cassius Howell. Patriots got to improve their pass rush. They've been getting by on scheme. He looks a lot like Harold Landry Jr. He's not the biggest guy in the world, so the run defense is going to take a hit. But if you want a guy to get after the passer and come off the edge with like a laser, like he's the guy. And so I think he's going to fit right in with Mike Vrabel's defense.
I've got the Seahawks. The Seahawks have taken some hits to the secondary. You got a defensive head coach. They always love good cover people. It allows them to do a lot of different things. And, I think Colton Hood is probably the last of this first group. And so I'll make him the last pick of the first round. Colton Hood, cornerback, Tennessee, allows them to stay strong in their secondary. They can keep coming up front with kind of their average pass rush if they can keep covering. Really, I mean, above average pass rush, but it's not as great as everybody made it out to be after that Super Bowl. But I'll take Caleb Hood as the Colton Hood as the last pick, cornerback, Tennessee, to the Seattle Seahawks. All right, what's the assessment now of what we ended up seeing happen here?
Well, it doesn't actually give you the grades if you have more than 3 teams, and we have 32. But I mean, we're fine. I think Soren, you're probably in the C range. A++, and we'll give Jeff an A-.
All the big guys are happy Soren's drafted.
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody eats.
Yeah. Big people. I'm
the average size of your pick's like 340 pounds.
I'm gonna be the guy who's leaking to reporters that Caleb Banks wasn't my pick. whenever he's out, I'm gonna be that wasn't my guy.
And who was your guy? Who was it?
I would have taken who I ended up.
Terrell.
Ended up taking at 30. And look, I think we actually probably should have left the board. I should have left the board up there a little longer. I had forgotten that once you pick it, it just snaps it through, because to see who's available, kind of there in the second round, I want to take an edge in the first round. Brett Veach's comment on the fact that he thinks this is deep to the second round, doesn't see a big separation, and the guys who are projected to go top 10. Now I've just kind of pigeonholed myself to having to take one at 40. But there's still some good guys left where I think I feel okay taking one at 40.
We had 7 or 8 edge players go.
Well, here are the edges
a third of the picks.
I can give you the edges that are gone just off memory, I think, here. David Bailey, Reuben Bang, Cassius Howell, Akeem Mesidor, Keldrick Falk, Zion Young. We had 6 of them go, right?
Well, Reese too, right?
Cassius
and Arbel Reese. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm looking at one list that doesn't.
Yeah, they had Reese at linebacker. So you got an edge there. You got Bailey at edge, then Bain at 8. Falk at 15 is 4. Zion Young is 5 at 25, and Cassius Howell is the 6th guy.
Mesidor.
Mesidor. I skipped over him.
And Mesidor. So you had 7 of them go. So the top edge rushers that were not drafted: T.J. Parker of Clemson, R. Mason Thomas of Oklahoma, Malachi Lawrence of Central Florida. That would be my guy, by the way. Derek Moore of Michigan, Gabe Jackson, Illinois. I do like Malachi Lawrence of Central Florida.
I mean, all those guys will be there at 41.
I mean, at 40.
40,
40,
yeah.
excuse me, 40, yeah.
Do you think for sure there's not going to be a run of those?
I mean, how many guys went in the first round? And that's 4 in the top 10 picks?
Yeah.
So
let me check here.
Yeah, I mean, to Jeff's point, you're thinking the Jets don't need one now, the Titans don't need one now, the Commanders and Saints. So for the teams ahead of you in the second round, you're thinking they've already addressed it in the first round.
So
could be a trade up for sure, though.
I'm looking to see if there's a difference here. I'm looking at another list from somebody I think does a pretty good job. Parker, Lawrence, Thomas. No, it's looking pretty much the same. Illinois kid. What is it? Jacus. Kerryon Crawford, Auburn. I mean, it's the same group. I mean, I think the one you want, though, is Malachi Lawrence, just because I think he's the biggest one of the bunch. Well, yeah, that's left. I mean, there's a lot of 6'2s, and Malachi Lawrence is 6'4 and 3/8. So I think that's the guy who looks the most like a Steve Spagnuolo guy. Looking at the arm length on him.
Where's he from?
33 and 5/8.
Where do you go to school at?
Central Florida.
Wow.
It's pretty good. He's pretty. I'll give credit. I need to look up the email. I had a listener who turned me on to him, was saying, like, I don't understand why this guy isn't being talked about it. And I've seen a couple of them here this week that had him in the first round. So I think he's a pretty talented kid, and he's the closest thing that looks like what Steve Spagnuolo has liked in the past. So I think that would be a likely scenario. So yeah, I think we did all right. I have no complaints. Did we get any grades from the comments? No. I thought for sure Matt would be throwing around some grades, but
I don't see Tommy in the group chat.
No, he didn't fire anything out.
Must be have a hot date tonight.
Yeah, I guess so. Listen, you can always support the Red, Gold, and Bold by supporting our great sponsors like Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Gann Asphalt and Concrete, one contractor, all things parking lot. If you own or manage a property and you need anything done, whether it's new concrete work, parking lot repave, crack filling, seal coating, full asphalt installation, striping, they do it all. Their experienced crews have been solving parking lot problems for over 30 years in Kansas City. Find them online at GannAsphalt.com and Northland Injury Law. If you've been hurt in a case, text HURT to 22222 or call 816-400-HURT. Google 5-star rated, voted KC's #1 accident lawyer, serving KC for 40 years. It's Northland Injury Law. For Jeff Chadiha from the NFL Network, Sam McDowell from the Star, I'm Soren Petro saying thank you very much for joining us here on the Red, Gold, and Bold Mock Draft.